Hello and welcome back once again. Girl, I know I just posted, but I do want to come back and serve you this meal because I was on my way out the door to run to the bank with my partner to cash his check. And something dawned on me because he's currently taking a nap, so I have a few minutes before we actually hit the road like Jack, but we will be back, God willing. What it is that I want to say quickly is, I was using the bathroom and I thought, okay, and maybe this is me simplifying the situation, but for anybody out there that is into science, or maybe you yourself are a scientist, maybe you can tell me if this is possible. I was thinking about all of, in particular, the blood, and is it not, what is it? The blood cancer and what's the other big one? AIDS even, and I can't even think of anything else. Those are the two that stick out of my mind. But I was thinking about, in particular, I'm sure this can go deeper than just that, but in particular, diseases that affect the blood. And I thought, okay, so we have blood banks where people donate blood, right? So what does that tell you? That tells you if, for whatever reason, if you get into an accident, you're shot, you're wounded, and you lose a lot of blood, we can replace that blood quicker than your body can regenerate more blood for you. We can replace it right there on the spot. And I thought, if that is the case, why can't we, okay, actually, let me pause that. You know how if a person, let's just say they slip into a coma or whatever and they're hooked up to life support. Okay. So we have a thing called life support for a reason, right? If someone's kidneys fail, their kidneys are failing, we have machines that can do the job of the kidneys while either you're trying to get better or while you're under treatment. Now, why do I mention that? It literally randomly just crossed my mind. I thought, why is it, in particular, blood-driven diseases, why can't you drain that person of their blood, hook them up to life support in the meantime, right? Some kind of way, figure out how to have oxygen flowing to their brain. Because I feel like if I had the right girls, I feel like we could figure this out. Drain them. And then for instance, with Tamaya, I remember the lady was saying, oh, well, first we do the one shot, then we push the fluid, or I can't remember the order, but there was a fluid that she uses to wash out debris. And I'm thinking, if you drain the body of the blood and then pump it with some type of saline solution, and then follow that up with fresh blood, 7 pints or however many pints you need, follow that up with fresh blood, wouldn't that fix the issue? I know that's a simplified version of, I know it probably is deeper than that, but why has that never even been a consideration? Instead of sitting up here trying to, if it's some type of blood cancer or AIDS, instead of just giving her a treatment that is trying to pinpoint the areas of the blood where it's either where it's been compromised or whatever, why not just remove all the blood and just start fresh, right? Just start it fresh. And then maybe if you started fresh, then, okay, let's just use blood cancer, for instance. If it's some type of blood cancer, if you started fresh and let's just say for whatever reason, maybe something got left behind that you didn't catch, then at least it'll be easier because it's not a complete and total infection. It'll just be certain little areas where it's okay, we didn't get everything, but we got most of it. I mean, does that not make sense? I just thought that was something where it's why have I never heard anybody say that? Why not just, or AIDS, just drain this bitch of her blood and then start it from scratch. Maybe I'm wrong. And here's another idea. Now, I was looking at this thing a few months back where the vegans were although we don't believe in eating meat, if you're going to eat meat, there's this new technology where what they do is they take a piece of the chicken or the cow, whatever, and they take it to a lab and then they grow it out into a piece of meat. So although it is meat, at least no animal had to die as a result for you to eat it. And I think that's an interesting concept. I would have to know more about it because to me, there's already too much science in food to where it's all these chemicals and stuff. So it just depends on what the process is. If it's literally just them growing out the meat, I don't see why people wouldn't want to do that because then that way, number one, that'll cut down cost with these farms and all of the smoke and the footprint. It would just really cut down. It would cut that. It might even eliminate that, really. But here's what I was thinking. Now, I don't understand why people are so against cloning. What happens if a person is sick? What if we had the text, and I'm sure we do. Why couldn't they just take your cell, like your skin cells, and let's just say, okay, but they can't clone the whole body from one cell. It can only clone a particular area. So let's just say if you take a piece of my skin off my face, then they'll only be able to clone my face or my head or whatever. Okay, so just take the samples as on a need to have basis. If you got to take skin from my hand, the bone of my finger, whatever, my wrist, my arm, whatever you have to do, take it from where you need so that you can clone a complete and total person. But here's my question. Couldn't they clone it all the way up to the point to where the body is complete, but without the brain? So don't like clone it to where it's a living person. Clone it to where it's a living shell. The shell, which is the body, should be alive. But now, see, this is shit that we normally talk about when I do my live show. So this may be new to some of the girls that are just watching the table read who are on the $10 tier. But the girls who come to the live shows, they know what I give. So welcome to the show, girl. Welcome to the show. But anyway, wouldn't it make sense to like create the human body as a living shell without the brain? And then couldn't they go in there and then just like cut open your skull, cut a certain portion of the spine, and then just implant it into that body, and then you have a fresh new body right from scratch. And then, so the way, because I know people are like, oh, well then it's murder because you killed the other person. No, you didn't. Not if there is no brain in the person's head. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my thing is, and by the way, nothing died outside of the sick body that you were in. So it wouldn't even be killing the other person because the only thing you did was add to the person. The body is still alive. It's not like in order for you to live, the healthy body had to die. No, the healthy body is still alive. The only thing that has changed is it now has consciousness. You see what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like, why don't people do that? Why have we not done? I feel like they probably could do that, but maybe the reason why they don't do it is because in theory you could live forever if all they had to do was continuously clone your body from scratch, and then maybe you could even pinpoint where you want to be. So on this next body, start me off at like 30, or start me off at 18, start me off at 16, start me off here, start me off there. I think in theory you could, I don't know about forever, because at some point maybe your actual brain will start to deteriorate. But by that point, they may have technology to rejuvenate your brain. But I'm just saying, if you can implant a heart into somebody's chest that is not their heart, if you can implant a kidney, a liver, a this, a that, people are now doing face transplants and hand transplants, although they need to work on the technology. But my point is, if you can implant something from another person's body into your body, how come we can't clone your own body and then from that point have you implanted into your own body? I mean, to me, it just makes perfect sense. I don't see why no one has said that before. Maybe someone has said it and I just have never heard of it. But I'm saying clone the person up until the point that the body is a complete body minus their brain. Because if you have a brain, then you are actually killing someone. You know what I'm saying? Like that means that person has consciousness and is like, girl, I actually want to be here now. But if it's just an empty shell that is living, that is hooked up to life support, and the only thing it requires now is a brain to plug into it, to wake it up and be like aware of what's going on, why don't people do that? You can clone a chicken, but you won't clone this bitch arm if she's missing an arm. Why does she need to get a hand transplant? Why do she need, if she got one healthy kidney, why do she need someone else to give her a kidney for it to be a set? Why can't you just clone the kidney she got and then make it into a new kidney? Why can't you use the stem cells to take a portion of her blood that is healthy or even another blood type that is healthy and just grow it into a whole new batch of blood. Like I feel like if they wanted to do that, they probably could, but it's too many. That's the reason why I need to go to Planet Goo, because I feel like at this point, they don't want to help these girls. It's too many people dying from shit that we should already have cures for. And the thing I don't understand about it is if we have cars and airplanes and cell phones and computers, if you can see me from Europe and if you can see me from Chicago, how come you telling me we don't have a cure for this? To me, I feel like all the shit that I just said is more complicated than what I'm talking about. Because you just completely and totally took synthetic materials and made it into something that works. Like, this camera is literally picking up all of my hand movements. It's picking up my likeness. It's picking up my voice. How can you do all of that, but then that has nothing to do with your actual body, but you can't figure this out? Something that, to me, is not even that deep. Drain this bitch blood. Drain her. Drain her out. Fill her with saline while you have her brain. Put oxygen to her brain, keep her brain alive, keep her heart alive on a life support, but drain her of her blood, then pump her with saline, and then turn around and fill her back up. Now I feel like the process would have to be quick, so I'm saying in the matter of like 30 minutes to 1 hour tops. We got to do it. We got to be in and out. So we go in, we make the incision girl, we drain this bitch of her blood within about 4 to 5 minutes. She's completely totally drained. Then we go back in, we pump her full of saline. Then after we pump her with saline, girl, we turn back around and we pump her, maybe not saline, I don't know, whatever, water, I don't know what the solution needs to be, but it needs to be some type of solution to rinse out the debris, whatever was, if there was any residual blood that was like compromised or that is diseased blood, then we can rinse all that out. So now your veins are empty and they're clean, all the blockages are gone, and now let's pump her back with fresh blood. I don't see why they can't do that. Because to me, it sounds real. I mean, I'm sure there's more to it, but don't that sound simple? Like, don't that sound logical, though? Like, or why don't you take this person and clone her body and then take out whatever genetic defects she got in the new clone and just don't grow her to completion. Like, don't grow the body, but don't grow her brain. And then go into the sick person, clean out the brain some kind of way, clean off her brain, take all the plaque or whatever, if she got like dementia or whatever, take off the plaque, take off whatever, if it's a damaged brain, go in there and maybe someone who has already passed away, maybe clone the healthy part of their brain. See, the only concern with that is maybe you may end up having memories from their life. I don't know. So I'm sure there are some complications, but isn't it worth talking about? Isn't it worth looking into? But see, I feel like, I'm telling y'all, the real issue is that they want to depopulate the world. The real issue is they don't want the girls to grow in numbers to where it's going to be either A, overpopulated, and or B, where we can overrun them. So I don't think they're ever going to create a cure for things that are wiping out poor people, because you have to think about it. Even though rich people die from like cancer and different diseases too, I think they have, out of 100%, their chances versus the average person is like 100%. Because the only reason you might die is because, girl, maybe you caught it too late, or maybe because they don't have the answer for you. But it won't be because you couldn't go in for treatment. It won't be because you didn't have the best of the best. Oprah will have, if for whatever reason, if she ever got sick, if any illness, Oprah is going to have the best. Or not just in America. Excuse me. Not just in America, but around the world. So to me, that's the reason why they don't want it. They want the girls to work for them, spend their life fighting wars for them. For them, it's entertainment. It's like, they don't have to be at war with people. And that's another thing I'd be thinking, like, to me, when they be like, oh girl, in order for us to build this, we need this much money. But money is fake. It doesn't really exist. To me, I don't see why you can't just give this bitch the materials, because the reality of the situation is, you're giving her something that is worth something, and you're trading it over for a digital number that's not even real. Like, okay, do you really think Oprah has however many billions of dollars? Do you really think she has a location on this planet where there's literally a paper amount to the number that she is worth? Beyonce, all these people who are worth millions, do you really think somewhere in the world There is a bank that has Oprah's money in it, where it's literally $3 billion worth of 50s and hundreds and single dollar bills and quarters and nickels. No, it's all after a point. I think there's a point where maybe they can get your money in cash, but after a point, it's literally just a digital number. The only way Oprah sees her money is through a computer, or through digital. It's not like she has ever seen her money physically. She has never seen $3 billion physically ever. No, she hasn't. What it is this bitch, it's a digital number. So my point is, Oprah is getting people to work for her. And Oprah got all this shit that she got on something that ain't even worth nothing. So poor people spend their life working for money, being paid money, but they're actually giving away something that is real. When you give away your time and when you give away your life, that's something you can't get back. Money is coming and going. Like, you have it, you don't have it. You got it, more of it, and then you have less of it. Like, to me, money ain't real. Like, I feel like because the world has agreed that this is how we're going to do it, that's what it is. But realistically speaking, money is not nothing. It's nice to have just because, that's what you need in this world. But when I sit down and think about it, I'll be thinking, girl, people work and spend their entire life for something that let's just say tomorrow something went wrong in the world. All the computers shut down. Civilization went to shit. Who do you think would give a fuck about $100 bill? It wouldn't be worth nothing. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to put food on your plate for real. And while civilization is holding up, it might. Because we have agreed that this is currency. But I'm saying, if something ever happened, everything would just go to shit, girl. Nobody would be concerned. Like, the only thing that would matter is security, safety, like weapons and medicine and food and shelter. Like, that's it. So Oprah has got all these billions, and Warren Buffett and all these other girls, Beyonce, Celine Dion, whoever you could think of, got all this money. But really, they don't have all that money. Somebody could go in that system right now and just say, take Oprah from $3 billion or however many billion she's worth, take her from a billionaire to, girl, $5,000. They could very easily go in the system and just, boop. If they knew what they were doing, the right bitch could make Oprah homeless or make her not worth nothing. Something that is real, you can't do that. Like, you can't just blink your eye. You can't just go into a system and take my car away. You'd have to have the key. You'd have to, like, break in. Like, you'd actually have to physically show up to do it. But with money, they could do it from anywhere on the planet. Just take all your money. I don't know if I'm making sense. But I don't even know how we got into that. But my point is, girl, we have the answer. I just feel like they don't want you to be healthy. They don't want you to get well. They want you to be sick. And I feel like our generation is going to be the worst. Because I feel like all the things that I be watching, it's scary. Like, sometimes you don't even be wanting to watch it. Like, I be feeling like, that's fine. I'll be glad when I do my time and I transition. Whether there is something or whether there is nothing, there really is no wrong answer. Because in my mind, I feel like, suppose there is heaven. Great. Suppose the people who feel like you die and that's it, then fine. When you die, girl, you're not even going to know you're actually dead. You may know that you're dying, but by the time you die, girl, you're not even going to realize you're dead. It's just going to be like you went to sleep. Some people go to sleep and don't have dreams. They just go to sleep and it's just blackness. That, to me, is what death is going to be, girl. So, eternal sleep or, girl, heaven, or you transitioning. Like, all of the options, all of the above are not bad. None of them are bad. So to me, death is not actually a scary thing. The scary thing is actually being alive and having to deal with sickness and being broke and not being able to live a full life. To me, that's the scary part. The scary part is life. I'm not saying that you should not want to be alive. I want to be clear. What I'm saying is, when people go through life and from point A to point B, some people die young, some people die older. But no matter how you cut the cake, typically if you die young, it's because of sickness or because, some type of accident, car accident, maybe you got shot, you got murdered, whatever. And so that's the scary part. If you die old, then you have to deal with all of what that means. If you die old, that more or less you're going to see the people you love die, which is a whole nother pain. If you make it to 80 years old, 9 times out of 10, your parents are going to be dead. If you have a number of children, they're probably going to be, maybe not all of them, but some of them may have already died. People, your friends, like, that to me is the trauma part. That's the part that it's like scary. Who wants to sit there and watch everybody they love die? So to me, I was already saying, like, that's why when I was thinking about like having kids, I'm like, I wouldn't even want to bring them into a place where people are so greedy that they wouldn't help my child even if they could. To me, I feel like insurance is a scam. But if we're going to do it, can we at least make it affordable? People shouldn't have to work 3 and 4 jobs just so that they can pay for health insurance and the basic necessities. But that's what they do. And I just think the greed of man is what makes this process so difficult. I believe somewhere in the universe there are people in living beings that understand that if they work together, we can all have it all. Why do some have to have it and others don't? Everybody can have what they need. It doesn't have to be if I have it, you don't have it. But unfortunately on Earth, I view Earth as like a cell, like in your body. And I feel like I feel like humans are the cancer on Earth. And I know this is sounding real morbid, but I'm just being real with y'all. Like, I feel like with all the dumb shit we do, all the destruction, then again, I take that back. I'm not going to say humans. I'm going to say the people at the top are the cancers, but it spreads throughout. So let's just say bees and different insects, I feel like are the good bacteria. They're like in the yogurt, when you eat it, they're like, oh, it's bacteria, but it helps you. That's what like bees are. Certain other like earthworms to me are like the good bacteria. I feel like humans have come around and we're the harmful bacteria. We're the bacteria that is killing the body. And I feel like if you go to other planets that are healthy cells, I'm sure on their planet it works. The humans there work together. Like I feel like we're just this. So we would lose our minds if we went to another planet and saw, wow, this is how it is on this planet. Why are we so far off? Because we're the sick ones. We're the ones that are the parasites on this planet. We're the ones that are draining the planet. Instead of, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with living the life you want to live, but I'm saying we can have cars that don't run on gas. I saw the dude set his car up on Facebook, or had the man set his car up on Facebook, and his car does not run on gas at all. But because they're greedy, they're not going to do that. We can have the girls, if this science is on point, we can have real meat that doesn't require all these animals to die. I would be on board for that, as long as you're not poisoning people and pumping the meat with hormones to where we're getting sick off eating the shit. But what would the issue be? If you can eat the same pork chop, I don't eat pork, but I'm just throwing that out there. If you can eat the same pork chop, and it tastes exactly the same, the only difference is a pig didn't have to die, why wouldn't you want to do that? I feel like there are ways to create fur and to create leather and all of that stuff. I feel like everything we do, we could do it. There's a better way to do it. But it's the cancer of man that makes it to where we're never going to move forward. It's always going to be another issue. If it's not race, it's sex. If it's not sex, it's sexuality. If it's not that, it's religion. It's always going to be another thing to make it to where we can't move forward. And then you just look around, look at the water, look at the oil spills, look at everything what's happening. We're killing this planet slowly but surely. And before you know it, I feel like this is just going to be dead. Maybe not in our lifetime, but in your grandkids' lifetime, they probably will suffer the consequences of water that is not drinkable, of air that is not breathable, and this planet will look very different in another 100 to 200 years. And maybe even sooner than that. But, I mean, it's just... I be just wishing sometimes that people would just get it. Like, we can all have it all. But people are too pressed on power, too pressed on control, too pressed on being at the top of the heap. But the thing about it is, girl, we can all be at the top. When you look at ants, I'll say this and leave it at this. Look at ants. or even bees for that matter. Now, I know that on one level, they aren't as evolved as we are. That could be looked at as a good thing or a bad thing because we've evolved, but look what we're doing. We're killing each other, war. We're making, the people who are supposed to keep us safe and look out for us are making us sick. They're signing over, if you pay them the right amount, they're signing legislation that makes it easier to take your rights away and to take, and just basic necessities. They don't look out for you. They pocket the money. Federal taxes, they take your money and invest it in shit that you don't want. War. Prisons, it's just ridiculous to me. But my point is, look at ants and bees. Now, this is a community of hundreds of thousands of beings that work together as a collective. Everybody gets what they need out of the deal. Now, we may have different jobs, but when it's all said and done, every job that we have benefits the next person. So as humans, I understand that there are so many different professions and you need them all. You need doctors, you need entertainers, you need educators, you need police, firemen, veterinarians, all of that stuff. But I feel like the way that the system is set up currently is in such a way that it provide for the educators and give them what they need so that they can then put the seeds into the children who will go on to have children and put that seed into their children who will take their children to those schools, who will go on to be mentally stable policemen, who will go on to be well-rounded entertainers and doctors, who will go on to be good people. It starts from when they're little. But the teachers don't get what they need. They don't get the resources that they need. So and so those kids are, it's like a revolving door. They don't get what the kids don't get what they need. They grow up, have kids. Their kids don't get what they need. They send them to school. The school doesn't, nobody is giving it. The parents have to give it. The school has to give it, but nobody is giving it. And then it's just a revolving door of people who are broken and people who don't get what they need and go out into the world and they're unprepared. They don't have the education. They don't have the resources. And then they sign up to be in the military and stuff some people really do just want to be in the military. But I think most people, not most, but I think a lot of people do it because they feel like they don't have any other opportunity. They want to go to college, but they can't afford it. So they join the military so that they can get that college education. To me, it's just a situation to where it's it don't got to be that way, but it is because people just aren't going to understand that we can all have it all. Everybody, what they bring to the table is important. We need bakers. We need chefs, all the little things that designers, people who make clothing, all of it is important. But there's a way to do it to where we can do it and do it the right way, and then we can do it the way we're currently doing it. And I just feel like I highly doubt in my lifetime that people are going to get it together. And I'm okay with that because honestly, at the end of the day, it's whatever. I don't know. Then again, I'm not going to say I'm okay with it because one minute I'll be okay with it, then the next I'll be but no, you got to fight until your last breath. You got to do it. But I don't know, y'all. We got to start with healing people. Stop making people sick. Stop. They do, and y'all, it's in everything. It's in the furniture. It's in the clothing. It's in the hair product, the skin products, the soap, the deodorant, the makeup. It's all of that shit. They got poisons in everything. Everything. And it's legal. It's legal. They pay the right amount of money and they pass the legislation. And so therefore, girl, they can literally sit there and poison you right now. And call it a day. Call it a day. Because they have the money. And in the water that you drink, there's mercury and lead and all kind of different things. I mean, it's almost like there's no way to get around it because the people who can do something different don't want to. Why? Because they're all in cahoots. I make the products that they buy, so I'm getting my cut, but then I'm making them sick, so then they have to use the insurance and their premiums go up, and then the medical field, and now we're extorting money out of them to keep them. If you want to live, you got to pay us, and then, then they need to recover. It's just everybody is in bed. And it's just this is why I feel things aren't going to change because it's beyond race. See, when we focus on race, I think that's a real component. I think that's a real component. but I think that it's also a deflection. I think if they can keep people bickering about sexuality and sex and race and all that, we'll never look beneath the surface to see, wait a minute, white, black, Mexican, Asian, Jewish, it doesn't matter. All the girls are dying from cancer. All of the children are dying from blood diseases and heart attacks and all the diabetes and everything what you turn around. There's too much sugar in all the different products. There's too much. All the girls are dying. But if we focus on race and all what we're talking about, then we're focused in on something that is important, but something that really has very little to do with the fact that while y'all are arguing about that, girl, we're calling the shots, we're putting you in wars, we're blowing people up, it's just a lot going on, and it's very discouraging, and I be wanting to do something about it, but I'm like, when I come and try to tell the children, then they get mad at me for telling them the truth. Like, you mad at me because I just told you what was really going on. And you blaming me because it didn't turn out the way you wanted. But at the end of the day, bitch, the bottom line is, bitch, I'm telling you the motherfucking truth. Bitch, I'm telling you what's really good. But you just don't want to hear it, girl, because you're so pressed on being comfortable where you are in your life with this whole situation. You don't want your life to be disturbed. But the gag is, girl, if it's not disturbed now, it will be disturbed later. Because, girl, if you turn up, girl, and then you turn up with cancer or some type of disease that I'm trying to tell you about, now you in the same boat with all these other girls, and there is no exclusion. Nobody is safe. Anybody can be stricken. Nobody is safe. And so it's just kind of like, girl, some days I'll be like, let me do my time and go. Hopefully my next energy will turn up on Planet Goo, because someone just sent me a tweet. And they would tell me how some kind of way they discovered that there are 7 Earth-like planets in outer space that they spotted. I don't know how I haven't read the article, but I just saw the tweet. And so to me, I hope my energy goes there, and hopefully my energy will meet up with my mother's. I would really love it if I can see her, her energy and try it again with her on another planet. And even with some of y'all, like, I would love it if we can go to another planet and try it again and like be reborn there. But because I do genuinely think that everything is recycled. That means materials in terms of you die, the earth eats you, and then plants are, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of it, it all goes around and around and around. So by that logic, if all living resources are recycled, all living resources, every living resource is reused, wouldn't it make sense to reason that your soul is also recycled? Which is the reason why maybe when you have dreams sometimes and you feel like, how is it that I'm in this space that I've never been, but it's so clear to me? You ever had a dream and you be thinking, how is my brain factoring in all these details? And then, see, somebody will try to explain it to you and say, oh, well, it's because you saw a movie. It was something you saw and it just hung around. Not all the time. Sometimes what it is it's just residual. It's a residual memory from some shit that happened to you in a different time. I believe that. Like, I believe sometimes, and I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm just going off of, I'm telling you what I believe. Sometimes when you have those, like, or deja vu, you walking into a room that you know you've never been, but for whatever reason, why do I feel like I've been here before? You talking to a bitch that you know you ain't never spoke to, and what do you say to her? Oh, girl, why do I feel like I met you before? You never met her, but you feel like you did. It could be one of two things. Either A, because in another life, maybe you did know this person, and it's just a coincidence that you're running into her again, all these maybe hundreds of years later. Or what if you ever meet a girl and then y'all start talking and it's the first time you ever had a conversation, you say, oh, bitch, I feel like I've known you my entire life. I feel like, what was I doing? And then you can't even imagine life before that person. You ever meet a person like that? Maybe it's because in another life, y'all were best friends. And so, although this is your first time meeting in this particular being, so, okay, you're meeting me as Quadir. Maybe when you met me before, I was Michelle. Maybe I was girl Sanjay Gupta. Who knows who I was? But maybe in another place, another time, our energies were in sync and we were best of friends. So when we're meeting 50 years, 100 years, 200 years down the line, and we're sitting here for the first time and we're communicating and it's like, oh my God, bitch, yes, and you're hitting it off. It's because you're picking up. It's just like, think about even today. You may have a best friend or a girlfriend of yours that you haven't spoken to in like 2 or 3 years. And then you run into her at the grocery store and you pick up right where you left off. That's how you do when you're in sync and when you're a kindred spirit. Even if when you're not in contact with that person, the connection is always there. It's just a long distance phone line, but the connection is always there. No matter where you go. I don't have to speak to you for 5 years, bitch, but when I see you, it's going to be like I never left. So when you see a bitch that you've never met and that's the feeling that you get, my feeling of that is because the reason you feel it is because you know her. Not as the person that you currently are, but you know her.